So if you guys didn't know, Muta Baruka is talking up the things them, and these are topics that we have talked about a lot of times here on my channel personally, but we are going to get into this story because this battery is about to die. And it says local poet and philosopher Muta Baruka is questioning whether Chinese-led roadworks will put Jamaica on a path to debt default, resulting in land grabs similar to other nations. Example, Africa. That's what they do in Africa, and now they are marrying African women just so they can get African land. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother video. We must look at what is happening in other parts of the world as it relates to China. Other countries are faltering on loans and they have to take land and seaports, said Muta recently on his Cutting Edge radio talk show. Jamaica's main overseas investors, the Chinese, are financing a series of road rehabilitation projects in the corporate area, including development of 3 miles Consent Spring Road, Hegley Park, and Mandela Highway, costing Jamaica's $12 billion. What make them want so good? What make them want just want to give Jamaica so much money? What is their ulterior motives? What is their agenda? That's what I've always been asking. But let's continue. All the aforementioned projects are happening simultaneously in order for the government to keep the funds available for use from China. So everything have to get done the same time. They want to spend out the money one time and done, so you're in a debt forever. You can't do it little bit and pay them back little bit. There is also the planned US $384 million South Coast Highway connecting to Portland and the long-awaited bypass road from Montego Bay St. James to be constructed by the Chinese. The projects are preceded by the completed Chinese-built North-South Highway that Jamaica will be in debt to the Chinese for the next 50 years, and every year the cost of the toll will increase. In June, China assumed 99-year control of Sri Lanka seaport and 15,000 acres of land surrounding it followed the Sri Lankan government default on a loan related to an over US $1 billion port development, which became a usually underperforming asset. So Sri Lanka couldn't pay them, and them take over Sri Lanka seaport and all the land surrounding the seaport. And you tell me say Jamaica now set up themselves. When them done with Jamaica, no land now go left that is actually owned by Jamaicans. But China also assumed control of the main international airport in Zambia for debt repayment default. There's also concern about the Chinese influence in Ghana and other nations. Separately, Zambia Power Company ZESCO is in talks for a takeover. You think it can't happen to we? After all these pretty lights and motorways, motor questions and all, I love the highway, he said. Muta said that politicians have good intentions when not in power, but when in power, absolute power, corruption, absolutely. And I have to agree. I feel like these politicians, once they're in power, they make some of the most ridiculous deals, and they claim it's to better Jamaica's economy and to stabilize Jamaica's economy, when in truth and in fact all they're doing is putting Jamaica in debt. Okay.
I also wanted to add another article to this video before my camera cut off. And it says, be careful of strangers bearing gifts. When the former US President Barack Obama visited Jamaica in April 2015, he warned the island to be careful of men who would come with smiling faces bearing gifts. Perhaps he was referring to China. For some time now, the Chinese have spread their wings across the globe and have been carrying out various projects in several developing countries, dispensing loans, building universities, and giving what on the surface seems to be great service. But recent developments should be more than enough to put Jamaican government on the guard to be very wary of any benevolent gestures by the Chinese, who just may have ulterior motives. The Chinese have been busy in Jamaica financing road rehabilitation projects across the island from Kingston to Montego Bay. Commuters have been facing hell as they attempt to traverse through sections of the corporate area and St. Catherine. When the Chinese-led road workers are done, the road network in the area will be greatly improved with an overhead bridge at the Portia Simpson Miller Square and highways all over. Traveling around will be less combustible and should take considerably less time. But at what cost? Recent developments involving the Chinese in other developing countries are clear indicators that Jamaica should be extremely wary of the contracts we sign and how we do business going forward. Examples are: the Chinese gave billions to Sri Lanka and they were unable to pay back. Now China has taken over their port as collateral damage. Zambia can pay their loan and China is taking over their airport and airspace next month. Military jets included. So they won't have any military. The Chinese will own everything. What will Jamaica pay? What natural resources or treasures will eventually land in the hands of the Chinese if we find ourselves unable to honor our obligations for all the development now taking place? One hopes that those who negotiated on behalf of Jamaican people were prudent enough to ensure that when the dust settles, the developments, the Jamaican people do not have to add the Chinese language to the curriculum in our school in order to communicate with our new colonial masters. The Chinese for years held pride of place among the Jamaican business community and have built themselves up from small shopkeepers to owners of supermarket chains, baking chains, and the leaders in Jamaica manufacturing sector, employing thousands. Their contribution to the Jamaican economic growth cannot be undermined. They are an industrious people. However, the projects of a Chinese economic takeover are scary, and we must, as a nation, demand from our leaders that the exact details of any contract signed with the Oriental to ensure that we do not lose ownership of 7 mile strip of white sand beach at Negril in Westmoreland or Blue Mountain Peak. As Stanley and Turbine said in the song Leave Kisilo, that is my view from the outside. Carl Walker is a multi-award winning journalist who have worked for Loop Jamaica, the Jamaica Observer, the RJR Communications Group, and the Nationwide Radio, among other media entities. He now resides in South Florida, and he was the one that wrote this article, and the article is titled A View from Outside: Will Jamaica Become China's Latest Acquisition? So comment in the comment section and tell me what you guys think about this, and I'll see you in the next video. And I also agree with everything Muta said in the first portion of this video. So like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
All them a preach and preach, step over they go beat and teach. Them a jive by and all know them can't reach. Go and back up for your grandmother preach. Them a pussy on the street and me see it. Go over they go beat and teach. Beat and teach. So beat and teach. So beat and teach.